Of colour seems to be orange, but the Spanish are here in good heart too. What a terrific opener to Group B. This is the way that Spain are lining up. Iker Casillas making his 16th appearance in a World Cup Finals. Gerard Piqué, Iniesta, who scored that injury time winner. Xavi Hernandez, Xabi Alonso, Sergio Ramos of Real, Sergio Busquets, key figure in midfield, of course. Jordi Alba, who's had an injury-hit season. Diego Costa, Brazilian-born. But it's Spain he represents. Silva and Azpilicueta, who'll play it right back. That's the way the Spanish are lining up. It's a familiar setup for Spain. Diego Costa, much more of an obvious target man, though. And Xavi will play a little further forward than he does for Barcelona. The referee today is Italian. It's Nicola Rizzoli, who's an architect by trade. And our fourth official, Svein Oddvar from Norway. Two Italian assistant referees as well. For the Dutch, Jasper Cillessen of Ajax in goal. Ron Vlaar of Aston Villa. Stefan de Vrij, skipper of Feyenoord. Bruno Martins, Indy, club mate of de Vrij. Daley Blind, who's had a terrific season for Ajax. Nigel de Jong, whose physical presence will be remembered. Jan-Maat de Guzman, who's got past an injury scare, as has Van Persie. Wesley Sneijder, back to his best of late. And Arjen Robben of Bayern Munich, who is perhaps the most important player, according to his coach. A different-looking Dutch setup as well. They've dispensed with a famous 4-4-3. They'll play 5 at the back, we expect today. It's a new formation. And as ever, all those not on the field at the start today are on the bench and available if required. Andres Iniesta, that injury time goal 4 years ago. Wesley Sneijder, who's back to his best, hoping to have a big influence for the Dutch this time around. Well, there's no doubting Spain's pedigree, world champions, but 4 years on, the Dutch have been stripped down and rebuilt. How does this generation handle the heat? And they're both in changed strips as well today. Do not adjust your sets, neither side in their traditional home kit, if you like. The Spanish in the white will get the first free kick. Well, all eyes on Diego Costa, who fills such a very different position for the Spanish going into this World Cup. It's a success for the vast majority of Spanish fans who took part in a newspaper poll online back in Spain, who said they wanted to see Diego Costa up there, and they have got their wish. Here's Xavi. Sergio Ramos looking long, but not finding any connection, and the first touch, a nerve-settling touch for Jasper Cillessen. Only 4 of this Dutch starting lineup survive from the 2010 final. De Jong, Sneijder, Robben and Van Persie. Only 4 of the Spanish side didn't play in that final. Azpilicueta, Alba, Silva and Costa. And here's Piqué. The first sign of boos as Diego Costa tries to get himself involved. The Brazilians, of course, not happy with his inclusion and choice of playing for Spain. Silva with a touch, brought down by the high boot of De Jong. Blintz. Here's Martins Indy. Robben will claim he was pulled over, but the referee will allow play on. Here comes Ariane Robben. And this is Daley Blin, who's been playing for his club side Ajax as more of a defensive midfielder this last year. He's been reinvented, but he's back to perhaps what he was known as best a couple of years ago on this left-hand side of defence. Touched by De Jong. And here's Ramos. He was under a little bit of pressure, but manages to play it away, and it's out for a Spanish throw. Only 8 defeats in 6 years for Vicente del Post. It's been a remarkable career as a Spanish coach. And on the other side, a man who's got some pedigree too, 62-year-old Louis van Gaal, on his way to Manchester United, of course, next season. Having won the domestic championship at every club he's been at thus far. Here's Xabi Alonso. Silva. Diego Costa's on the chase, but hit with a little too much zip, went into the arms of Silasson again. Here's Azpilicueta back on his natural right-hand side. He's been playing at left-back for Chelsea for most part of this last season. It's a quiet start. Costa. Goes again from Brazilians as well as the Dutch, I'm sure. Here's Xavi. Azpilicueta. Silva. Xabi Alonso switching it left. Iniesta. Spanish just settling into possessional football, as they love to do, of course, the old tiki-taka. They're not going to change their style unless they're knocked out of it, and first sign maybe of the rigorous approach that the Dutch might have to this game today. Young Matt was the man with the challenge. Free kick for Spain. Here's Iniesta. Towards Robben, who is flattened this time, and we'll get a relieving free kick for the Dutch, who were pretty impressive in their qualification for this tournament. 9 out of 10 that they won there. Only lost points was against Estonia. They drew with Estonia, but they were playing none of the top 30 ranking teams. None of the teams in their World Cup qualifying group figured really as any of the European heavyweights. But they did manage to score 34 goals, so they did come here flushed with confidence. Here's Vlaar. De Vrij. Vlaar will look to pick out Van Persie in the middle here, who's just managed to shake one, but not the second. Piqué. Xavi. De Guzman. There's a concern about his fitness coming into this game. Jonathan de Guzman, in fact, it looked pretty certain he wasn't going to be available for the very first match, but he has managed to pull himself through. Here's Robben, who lays it in for Sneijder with the first chance of the game, and Casillas was large. Blocked it away. Well, it was an immense moment from Iker Casillas. But here come the Dutch again. Robben. Van Persie. De Jong. Here's Martins Indy. Janmaat. Daley Blind. And now Azpilicueta. Xabi Alonso with a flick towards Costa. Well, he'll love this. And Diego Costa, he does have a certain sharpness to his attitude, and he won't mind having the crowd against him. But this was the effort. Wesley Sneijder on the day of his 100th cap with a wonderful opportunity to get the Dutch up and running so early. But Casillas was absolutely immense. Stood up to that and blocks it away. Iniesta. Now Blitz. Possession rather cheaply conceded, and the Dutch won't want to do that too often this afternoon. Iniesta's got Jordi Alba just roaming on his outside, but Iniesta's coming in himself with a shot. First sighter for the little man from Barcelona. Never really troubling Silasson. And again, the Dutch rather properly getting possession and giving the Spanish wonderful position. Xabi Alonso to find a way through, but unable to pick out Diego Costa. It's Busquets. Xavi. Iniesta again. Diego Costa. Azpilicueta. Piqué. Sergio Ramos. Xavi with a flick. Not close enough to truly interest Diego Costa. Spanish had to qualify as well, of course, for this these finals, despite being the holders. And they too are unbeaten in their 8 qualifying games, just 2 draws, 6 wins. They won all their away games as well, interestingly. Their 2 draws came at home to France and Finland, but just as the Dutch were banging the goals in, The Spanish were keeping them out. They only conceded 3 goals in their 8 games, and it's been very much a feature of this generation of the Spanish national side. They do not concede many goals, do they? Only 6 conceded in their last 19 tournament games. European Championships in 2008 and 2012 and the World Cup 2010, but here they are looking at the other end, and Diego Costa looking to take a touch, but he's given time for Vlar to make the blocking challenge. So chances at either end, but neither taken. Free. It's Gerard Piqué. Piqué. Iniesta to Alba. It's a rigorous challenge by Nigel de Jong. And not for the first time he makes his presence felt amongst those Dutch players. There'll be some rather sore memories of his so-called Kung Fu challenge up there from the final 4 years ago. It's Busquets this time, Xabi Alonso 4 years ago. Here's Azpilicueta. Taken on by Sergio Ramos now as Spain look to move back inside their opponent's half. Well, Sneijder's complaining there was a little bit more of that made than perhaps should have been. Busquets does have the reputation of being a little theatrical at times. And perhaps that was one of those times. Here's Deli Blind. From Percy. Takes a tumble, but backing into the defender. Pushing into Sergio Ramos rather than the other way around, which is how the Italian referee saw it. A little too much for Iniesta for Azpilicueta to gather in. It's a hot and humid day in Salvador. There is a hint of rain in the air. We had a thunderstorm about an hour or so before this game kicked off. The field has been watered, but there's just a suggestion that we might get another downpour before this game is out, and perhaps that would best suit the Spanish. So they look to zip it across this surface. Here's Silerson. Silva. No blitz. And quite clearly, Arjen Robben wanted it at his feet, and it went over his head. A little bit of frustration growing. He had terrific success 4 years ago, the Dutch, in making the final, but in between times they have had to reconstruct this squad, really. A disastrous European Championships campaign. Here comes Silva, laying it in for Costa, who from the angle tried. 18 minutes played, and the only real test for either goalkeeper so far, that effort from Wesley Sneijder that was blocked out well by Iker Casillas. Solisson never really troubled with that one. Here's Robben looking to cause problems. And he has got a throw, I think. No, it's a goal kick. Five goals in his last 6 international games. Arjen Robben, he was a marked man by Louis van Gaal before the tournament began as one of the key players in his squad. The referee's just inviting him to get off the field if he wants to carry on sorting out his boots, but in the meantime the game carries on without him. Here's Azpilicueta. Xavi. Well, that's a decent ball as well. He's onside. The fierce effort blocked away, but he might get another chance here. Support is provided by Xabi Alonso. And the Dutch survive just. But the clearance is poor. Azpilicueta. Xavi. Busquets. Xabi Alonso. Sergio Ramos looked left and then comes right again. Here's Busquets once more. Xavi. Alba. Iniesta. Silva. Costa. Here's Jordi Alba, nominally the left back, but he's pushing well forward in this game so far. Silva's just denied by the outstretched boot of de Guzman. But still, Spain come with another wave of attack here. It's a bust from Martin Zindi, but it was fair. Iniesta. Tracked all the way by De Jong here. Xavi, oldest player in the Spanish group. Not that it's a group lacking in years. Here's Iniesta. Jordi Alba again is pushing forward here to give this attack a little bit of width. Iniesta. Silva, back to Iniesta, clever stuff. Silva's made the dart to the middle here as well. And it will be a corner. Well, just a couple of missed time runs from Diego Costa as he settles into this Spanish side, but Spain coming very close to opening them up here. Here's Xavi to try and curl one in. Oh, he was left all alone, Sergio Ramos. Well, it just flicked his forehead, but that was a real opportunity. Costa on the chase, chopped away by Vla. Well, again, it's a free kick position that offers a Spanish an opportunity here. He's given the throw. Iniesta. Espilicueta. Xavi comes deep again to collect, to try and manufacture a way forward for Spain here. Iniesta's nice touch. Diego Costa, not enough weight on the ball to reach his man, and Daley Blind will clear away, and here comes Robben again. Espilicueta was insistent. That should have been a Spanish throw, but it's gone the way of the Dutch. And Percy. It's Blint. Schneider back to Blint, who looked for the first time ball in the middle. It's a chance to be knocked back by Jan Maerts. Not controlled by de Guzman. And the Spanish survive a scare, and they will get a free kick as well here. And a yellow card for Jonathan de Guzman for the challenge on Andres Iniesta. First yellow card of the game. Iniesta. Here's Silva. To Xavi. It's Diego Costa, who tried to turn it in, was clipped as he did so, and the penalty is given. There will be complaints, but De Vrij makes contact, and Spain have a spot kick. Just about onside, held his line, and Costa looking for the inside ball, and he just had that trailing left leg. Well, was there much contact there? And how much of it did Diego Costa institute himself? But it is a penalty. Xabi Alonso is the man to take it. Arjen Robben reckons he knows which way he's going. Jasper Cillessen is duly informed. Will it make a difference? On first showing, it looked a little harsh. Xabi Alonso at his 6th major tournament. A cool head on a big occasion gives Spain the early lead. 1-0 to Spain. How often have we heard that scoreline before? Well, here we go again. And here they go again. But there will be some controversy as to how that penalty was earned. No doubts about the finish, despite the fact that Cillessen went the right way. 27 minutes played when the penalty is scored. And they're looking for a quick response here as well, but Robin van Persie was offside. Well, there's food for thought for the Dutch coach, Louis van Gaal. Just another note in the book for the other side. So flip for Jordi Alba. Here's David Silva. "1-0 was the most popular Spanish scoreline at the last World Cup. Every game after they qualified from the groups ended in that scoreline in their favour. They know how to defend this lead. It's just a matter of keeping possession and frustrating their opponents. It looks as though that might have gone out of play, but it's been allowed to play on. Here comes Iniesta. This now is Azpilicueta. Stretches things down this right-hand side. Silva. Couldn't find a way through to Jordi Alba. It's taken away instead by Jonathan de Guzman, who would like to set up a counter-attack for the Dutch, but not long before Spain are back in possession again. Thanks to the industry of Jordi Alba. Given away to Robin. He's got the trigger in the first place to find a halfway past PK, but the defender recovers. Here comes Robin again. Janmaat. Surely offside here, Van Persie, and he is. He's almost a surrendering of his position as he chased that ball. Well, they only had 2 penalties at the last World Cup, Spain, and they missed them both, so they'll be quite content that Xabi Alonso has got them up and running from the spot this time around. And where there was tension, suddenly there's relief and great jubilation as Spain take this early lead. But they're under pressure again here. Here's Janmaat. 3 in the middle to aim for. Janmaat. De Guzman's lost his marker. The cross is a little too heavy. Vlara. Out of reach. Possession, if you respect, very much heavily in the favour of the Spanish in this opening 31 minutes or so. 63% possession they've had so far. It's the Dutch side's turn to just hold on to the ball for a while. Forward by de Guzman. Here's Blind. This now is Robin. Back to Blind again. Well, the pair of them have worked a decent position here for Blind to get a crossover. Van Persie might not have expected it coming his way, with PK between him and that delivery. But PK's miss very nearly became Van Persie's opportunity. Here's Martins Indy. Robben. They're not too many close at the moment, though. De Jong is just offering his assistance to Robben, the thrower, but in turn, the man from Bayern Munich is indicating he wants everybody inside the box here. It's going to be a long throw from Arjen Robben, who arches the back and levers it forward. This is a better passage for the Dutch just at the moment. Schneider. Here's De Vrij. Vlaar. Robben. Sneijder. De Jong. Good spell of pressure here. And the shot in the end. There's not too much of a test for Iker Casillas. And here comes Iniesta. Oh, he's frustrated with that ball, but there was a free kick anyway. A little tug of the shirt, not gone unnoticed by the referee. Bruno's Martins Indy. Here's Piqué. Drilling it towards Azpilicueta, who, despite the little sense of urgency he produced, is unable to keep it in. Martins Indy, and the flag is up. So Van Persie's shot is all in vain. I think he would have known. Just trying to time his run, but well, he wasn't far away, was he, from getting it to absolute perfection. Diego Costa, the man who won, in inverted commas, that penalty, and looking to sneak in behind that Spanish defence again there, but overhit. Here comes Bruno Martins Indy. It's now De Guzman. To Silasson. Started the campaign as Ajax's #2 goalkeeper, Jasper Silasson, but some really good early performances in the season, rather propelling him to this particular platform, and he'll have some concentrating to do here again, because Spanish have another free kick. It's De Guzman again, who has been booked already, so he has to be a little careful here. Maybe the referee just issuing something of a final warning. Xavi. And again. Here's Silva. Still very much the heartbeat of this Spanish side, isn't he, Xavi, despite his 34 years. Spain's most successful player of all time, and there have been a few in this generation, haven't there? Here's Iniesta, one of those. Rejoicing in possession once more, the Spanish. Silva, Alba. Silva will do well to keep it in, he can't. It's been a year when European football has been dominated by the Spanish. Every one of this side playing today was involved in Champions League football one way or another, and of course Real Madrid beat Atletico, the two Spanish sides, in the final of the Champions League, and another Spanish side, Sevilla, beating Benfica in the Europa League final. And the Dutch looking for a way to stop this Spanish domination if they can. Here's Blint. Van Persie, and again offside. This time it's Robert. Well, they're getting frustrated in looking to try and play behind the Dutch defence here. But again, it's close. He is offside, but it's close. Piqué looks left to Alba, who in turn pops it inside for Iniesta. Diego Costa, late to register with the Brazilian fans as the boos came rather belatedly. Piqué. Xavi. Silva. Foul on Silva, and there's trouble here as well. It's a suggestion that the referee was thinking, and indeed has pulled out the yellow card for Stefan de Vries. So he's the second Dutchman to go into the book so far in this game, following de Guzman for that challenge. Nine Dutch players, of course, booked famously in that final 4 years ago. 14 in total. Xavi. And again, the early run made by Diego Costa gave him away. The assistant referee making sure that he was going to connect with the ball before raising the flag, but it was pretty obvious from the start of his run. Here's Van Persie. Casillas. Piqué. He wants to go for a little wander himself here. This is Alba, who again is looking to push forward down that left-hand side. Iniesta. Well, the Dutch being frustrated here. It's back in the 60% mark, the amount of possession that the Spanish have had in this game, that little spell that the Netherlands had when they offered a threat, but it came to naught. Suddenly it's back to the holding pattern. That's a terrific ball, and here comes Silva to finish with the cutest little chip, but Silerson was up to it. They were off the bench in celebration. Silerson doing ever so well here. Clearly onside. The ball from Iniesta was an absolute peach. Silerson just about getting hands to this. They are oozing confidence just at the moment, this Spanish side. Iniesta with a cross, and Diego Costa, that's what he's there for, the big man in the middle, amongst other things. And he feels he was bundled off the ball there by Martin Zindi. A real battle going on. In fact, he just lost a bit of balance, didn't he? Didn't quite get the flight of that ball, and Martin Zindi did a good job of making sure he was occupied without breaching the legal limits. That's a good ball as well. Oh, the header! Oh, my word! Van Persie with an absolute stunner! Celebrates with his coach. The Dutch have their equalizer, and it comes with a splash of style. What about this? There didn't seem much on here when Deli Blind collected it. Clearly onside by several yards. The delivery was perfect. The finish even more so. Robin van Persie in full flight. And the Dutch with a terrific response. Just before half-time as well. He was in the goals in the qualifiers, 11 goals in the 9 matches he played. He hasn't always had the return he would have hoped for in World Cup Finals matches, just 3 I think it is in his 11 finals appearances, but that's all put to history now with that very good finish. And they're looking for more. But here's Iniesta. Diego Costa's doing a job here of holding that ball up, but he can't find a man in the middle. He's just looked a little disconnected, hasn't he, in this opening 45 minutes or so. 44 international goals for Robin van Persie. Well, they're frustrated because they felt it should have gone the other way. Italian referee is not for moving. Judged it superbly well. And there was nothing that Casillas could do about that. And it's been an intriguing first half as well. The penalty scored by Xabi Alonso, giving Spain that familiar scoreline of 1-0. But Robin van Persie, the Flying Dutchman, with the equaliser just before the break. Just as it was when we started, it's all to play for. It's 1-1 at half-time. So that just adds a little extra factor to this second period. Little extra zip for the Spanish on this pitch. So all square at half-time. Will this second 45 minutes unlock this particular battle? Or will it be honours shared? Only once have these two sides drawn before in their history, back in Barcelona in 1987. That was a 1-1 game. History suggests that one of these will emerge as a winner. History also suggests that the Dutch will not be denied today, because they've never lost an opening game in a World Cup finals. 5 wins and 2 draws. They usually get these things underway very quickly. And if you're trying to work out the maths and suggest that the Dutch have played at 10 World Cup finals, well, the first 3, of course, didn't have group stages. So only in the group stages that has occurred. Here comes Andres Iniesta. And it is raining very hard now as well. Janmaat. Robin van Persie, the goal scorer, is the man who's back helping out his defence just for the moment. And here's Bruno Martins Indi. Spain lost their opening game 4 years ago against Switzerland, the first team to ever lose their opening game and go on and win at the World Cup final itself. They won every game thereafter against Chile and Honduras. And then all those 1-0s against Portugal and Paraguay and Germany. And of course, most famous of all, against this Dutch side. But this Dutch side is very much reinvented in the 4 years since. Well, you can see what the weather's doing at the moment. Absolutely pouring down. The last few days there have been, at this time of the day, some very heavy showers of this nature. How long it will last, we'll have to wait and see. Can't imagine it'll last the whole of the 45 minutes, but certainly enough to freshen things up on what has been a warm evening. It's Azpilicueta with a throw. Here's Diego Costa. Still getting booed. Still enjoying every moment, I'm sure. Azpilicueta, the man from Chelsea, playing at left back a lot this season, but back in his more natural right back position for the Spanish here tonight. Can't find a way through just at the moment. Some tenacious Dutch defending, but they have given it away. Here comes Xavi. Busquets. Xabi Alonso, scorer of that penalty in the 27th minute. Whether he should have had it or not is another question. Xavi, back deep again. Made his debut 14 years ago against the Dutch. Janmaat, beaten to it. De Guzman, unable to control, so Spain have it back again in the shape of Ramos. World Cup holders tend not to have great success at this stage of the competition the year after, or the 4 years after. Only 3 times in the last 10 editions have the World Cup holders actually won at their first game. Here is Spain trying to correct that record. Here's Diego Costa. Xavi. Silva. Iniesta. Little pocket of space is found again. His shot lacked a bit of zing and zip. And it still proved just a little bit of a handful for Jasper Cillessen. And the rains come. Might be beginning to ease off just a little now, the weather. Here's Vlaar, Ron Vlaar. 7 games for the Dutch in the World Cup qualifiers, very much a pivot in their defence. And Cillessen. And De Vrij. Here's De Guzman, who's turned nicely. Robin. Well, there were 3 there, but like a will-o'-the-wisp, he's passed the first of them. But then he ran into the formidable figure of Sergio Ramos. Sneijder. Interchange of passes between him and Blind. He began this season, Daley Blind, a lot of Ajax supporters were booing him. They didn't think he should have had a place in the team, but having been moved to that central midfield position, he really came on strong. This is Janmaat. Janmaat again, looking to get it through to Robben, just rattled off a couple of shins. De Guzman. Daryl Janmaat. De Vrij. De Guzman. And now it's Bruno Martins Indy. Blind. Sneijder. Well, they're keeping it together and keeping possession, but they're not going too far forward at the moment. It's all negative just at this stage from the Dutch, but they'll start again from deep. Here's De Vrij with the ball forward, and under pressure, Van Persie can't keep it in play. Guzman. Sneijder. Robben, looking to reach and does. His second touch puts him in range. His third finds the back of the net. They have turned it right around. Just before the break and just after. 2 golden goals. And from 1-0 down, the Dutch lead by 2 goals to 1. He cannot believe it. His side don't concede goals like this in World Cup finals. Well, not until today. There was a real Spanish-type feel to the way the Dutch were playing leading up to this, keeping hold of possession. Robben's touch was immaculate and a finish superb. And Iker Casillas, who before today had only been beaten on a handful of occasions, only 5 goals in major tournament finals, Iker Casillas before today. Well, now he's been beaten twice in the space of 8 minutes either side of half-time. And Holland are rattling the holders. Driven in, and a quick response needed from the Dutch defence here. This is where they're going to have to keep their concentration. Six goals in his last 7 international games now for Arjen Robben. He also becomes the first player in Dutch history to score in 3 different World Cups. A delay here for the injury. I think it might be Martins Indy who's down at the moment. Well, have a look at this. This is where it happened. It was just a... Well, it was the merest glance of the head, but I think if the referee had seen that from Diego Costa, he could have found himself in an awful lot of trouble. He used his head. The reaction from Martins Indy was incredibly over-exaggerated. There was no need for him to go down like that, but I think the referee has seen it. Well, there was absolutely no need for Martins Indy to go down like that, but he was just trying to exaggerate it to draw the referee's attention to that moment. In the meantime, the Spanish corner is taken. The keeper came out well enough. And there was a push in the middle, which means it's a Dutch free kick. Well, he certainly puts the head in. And I think if the referee had seen that, there would have been disciplinary action taken beyond the telling off he got. In the end, it was Martins Indy who got the telling off for overacting. no love lost between these two sides, is there? Robben's chasing another here. Piqué's got his job to do. All the way back to Silerson. His clearance is firm. Blint's header. De Jong over the top. Robben's after another. He's on full fuel at the moment. Arjen Robben. Piqué. It's a back pass, so there's pressure on here. Spain just looking to play themselves away from trouble. Busquets holding off the challenge. Neatly done, wonderfully done. Really nice football from the Spanish to get themselves out of trouble, and here they come with Xavi. Can't connect with Iniesta. Silerson. Winners in every game at the last tournaments. The last World Cup, the Dutch, of course, going through the group, beating Denmark, Japan and Cameroon, and then Slovakia and Brazil, of course, notably in the quarter-finals. Whoever finishes winners up in this group, by the way, are almost certainly likely to play Brazil again in the knockout stages. That was offside against Diego Costa, who's not having the happiest of afternoons. But here's the goal. Look at the touch there, not the first, not the second, but also the third from Arjen Robben. Just turning Gerard Piqué inside out before he finishes. Alba still ploughing that furrow up the left-hand side. To no avail this time. It's Ron Vlaar who's across to clear. Here's Iniesta. It's now Sergio Ramos. Out-muscled by Blint. Oh, untidily done in the first instance by Guzman, and he just about gets away with it. Piqué. Silva. Clearly offside again by Diego Costa, who's just not timing his runs at all. I just wonder how long before the Spanish look to make a change in that position, go back to their false number 9. Cesc Fabregas on the bench, of course. He's happy with the way things are just at this stage. Spain just looking to settle back into their rhythm here if they can. Not let themselves get too shaken by the fact they've conceded those 2 goals. They're trying to see if they can find a way back into this game. Here come the Dutch again. Here comes Robben again. Powering down. Young Matt. Wide it goes. Oh, it's off the crossbar by Van Persie. Wow. So close to a third. That would not bear thinking about from a Spanish perspective. But the power and drive down the middle. Might just have been a case for offside, but crushed his shot against the crossbar anyway. And Iker Casillas was beaten again, and you don't say that very often. Iniesta. Silva. Good work by De Vrij. But still the Spanish come. Played in towards Silva, but read well by Silerson. Came out smartish. We're not going to see a change, but it's going to come from the Dutch. It's Wijnaldum who's about to come on. Sit down, madam. He's not on yet. De Vrij. He was offside this time, Robin van Persie, so maybe we do see the change here. Well, it's going to be Jonathan de Guzman who comes off, which is perhaps a little precautionary here because he has got a yellow card and he's found himself entangled once or twice with a couple of his opponents. So he's the man who gives way, and the attacking midfielder Georgina Wijnaldum is the man who comes on in his stead. Only 23 years of age. And Fernando Torres is the man who comes on for Diego Costa. It has not been a happy homecoming of sorts for Costa. On home soil, his country where he was born, but in Spanish colours, he has not really shone tonight. Will Fernando Torres shine in his place? Change there, of course. Pedro has come on, and as you saw, Xabi Alonso is the man who's gone off. Barcelona replaces Real Madrid. And here's Bayern Munich in the shape of Robben. Well, they are rather dominating things here just at the moment, and certainly for all this second half. The Dutch deserve that lead. Martins Indy. Here's Daley Blind. Robben. Everything seems to be going the Dutch way at the moment. You can hear is because the man on the PA is just announcing that Diego Costa has gone off. He's been booed by many Brazilians inside this crowd, and the fact that Fernando Torres has come on, and that rather sums up the night, doesn't it? Here's Wesley Sneijder with the cross. Oh, it's bundled in at the far post. Nothing wrong with that. De Vrij gets the final touch. Would you believe this scoreline? Spain 1, Netherlands 3. Stefan de Vrij's first international goal. The Netherlands third on the night. They cannot believe it. Untidier than the first two, but it means just as much. I'm not sure which body part that came off last. It started on his head. It might have rolled down his knee. It could come off his backside as far as he's concerned. He's just got an international goal at a World Cup Finals, and Holland are in heaven. Well, before the tournament began, a few weeks before the tournament began, Louis van Gaal, the Dutch coach, was quoted as saying that he rated his side's chances as around 20% of making the semi-finals. I think he had one eye on the fact that finishing second in this group put you up against Brazil, but they're not thinking about finishing second now, although there is another yellow card being brandished here. Pedro's not been on long, but finds himself at the end of that challenge from Robin van Persie. So 3 Dutch players booked on the night, 2 of them still on the pitch. Van Persie and De Vrij, who've also got goals to their name. Here's Piqué. Alba. Early touch here for Torres, whose club form has not been as dynamic as maybe Spanish supporters would have hoped for, but he's been given the nod despite his lack of goals this last season. This is Jordi Alba. Here comes Pedro. Sending the defender inside out. He's done well to get the cross, but Martins with a clearance, Silva with a shot. Might still come here for Azpilicueta to put it back in! And coming from nowhere, the header by Pedro is turned in from an offside position. The Spanish were up in celebration, but very soon we're up in arms. It's denied. Well, as you can see from Pedro's header, Silva was clearly offside. His instincts told him to do that, and I think his instincts would have also told him that the flag was up just over his right shoulder. Three goals that Spain have conceded here tonight is one more than they conceded in the entirety of the World Cup 4 years ago. And in fact, if you put their defensive record together from the World Cup 2010 and the European Championships in 2012, they only conceded 3 in 13 tournament games at those 2 tournaments. And yet in the space of 20 minutes, all that has been undone here tonight. 3 goals conceded in 1 game. Confirmation of the earlier yellow card for Iker Casillas, who was on for a record, by the way, Casillas here tonight. If he kept a clean sheet for the whole 90 minutes or just under that, he would have got the best World Cup finals record of clean sheets, which is currently held by Walter Zenga and will continue to be held by Walter Zenga by quite a while now. 517 minutes he went without conceding. Here comes Van Persie. Casillas kicks it away. But the Dutch want more. Blint is up there. And you compare and contrast the Spanish defensive performance here tonight. You also compare and contrast the Dutch unity here tonight, the way they're playing with their last tournament outing, those European finals 2 years ago in Ukraine and Poland, when they lost all 3 group games, and the story of their tournament was one of fallouts and miscommunication and general grumpiness. And they went with high hopes and left flat on their faces. He's surely offside here, Torres. Of course he is. Space afforded there, Robin Van Persie, but Casillas getting that right foot to it. Well, they've probably never seen much like this before. There'll be quite an aftershock in Spain if this stays the way it is. It goes without saying. Most people thought that this was a squad, the most experienced squad coming into the tournament, that still had enough in its legs to carry them all the way through to the final itself. It might still It might still, remind you, they did lose the first game of the last tournament and still go all the way, but it'll also raise those voices that were just voicing concern that it was a little over the hill, this particular Spanish collection of personnel. Nearly 1,400 caps, the 23 here for Spain, share between them. And near 660 for the Dutch. Alba. Not so much a Mexican wave as a Dutch wave of enthusiasm going round this stadium. Casillas has to hurry, dispossessed, Van Persie, it's a fourth! Unbelievable! This is now reaching the realms of Dutch fairy tale. The holders are not being beaten here tonight, they are being humbled and humiliated. Casillas concedes again, and it was his mistake. Well, this will send shockwaves around the football world. Van Persie's second, the Netherlands fourth. And he couldn't believe the opportunity he'd just been given. And we've still got 18 minutes to play. Wow. Wow, this is sensational. And they know it, don't they know it? How does Spain pick themselves up from here? Will they be allowed to? Blint. Schneider, back to Blint. Here's De Jong. Ole's going up from the Brazilians as well as the Dutch here. It's the Dutch turn to hog possession. And now boos as Spain try to recreate some kind of control. Well, at 1-0 up with a minute of the first half remaining, you would never have imagined that Spain would find themselves in this kind of situation, where the Dutch can revel in a conga out in the stands in full knowledge that their side are going to win this game, barring some kind of crazy football miracle here. Xavi. Oh, there's a push. They might have allowed the play on there because there was an opportunity for Torres, but the whistle blew early. Netherlands were thinking about making a change down on the touchline, but Veltman is going to take his place back on the bench again. Stefan de Vrij is the man who's going to be coming off. Just while they have a free kick to defend, they'll stick with what they've got. Sergio Ramos to maybe try something sparkling here. There's the white spray which you'll have seen in the games so far. How long it'll last in the rain, I'm not sure. Maybe Ramos will have to get on with it here. He's not going for power, he's going for accuracy, and he wasn't far away. Just the odd foot or two. And finally, belatedly, the change is made. Veltman has got the chance to come on. Stefan de Vrij is the man going off. Joel Veltman, the man from Ajax, central defender. He's got a bit of a Spanish nightmare in his locker as well. Sent off for Ajax against Barcelona in the Champions League last November for a foul on Neymar, just to complete this World Cup triangle. Here's Xavi. Iniesta. They hardly seem to have had any ball with any meaning in this half, but here's Torres, who might get a second attempt here and has gone down in hope of a penalty. The referee says only a goal kick. Scoring a bit of fortune here off the boot of Martin Zindi, which gave him a position to attack the goal, but Vlar very quickly coming across to cover. There was no contact there, clearly. And the referee gets it spot on. So, Cesc Fabregas, belated entrance for him as well here, and David Silva is the man to go off, so they're looking very much to the attack here to try and shake things up. Torres and Fabregas both on. Diego Costa, that experiment doesn't seem to have worked, and David Silva both off. And the Dutch are going to bring off their hero here. Robin van Persie jogging to the other side of the field, knowing that his number was up. So he'll be brought off to a terrific reception, having scored the 2 goals that have helped put his side in the driving seat. The equalizer just before the break, the spectacular diving header, and then the one that made the most of Casillas' mistake. The 4th of the afternoon, the 4th of the evening for the Dutch. And Jermaine Lens is the man who takes his place. So all 3 changes made now by both sides. Torres. Manchester United supporters all around the world, I'm sure, will be hoping that Louis van Gaal can create the same kind of resurrection on that club as he has with this Dutch national team, it would seem. Let's not get too carried away. It's only 1 game, but my word, what a game, what a performance, and what a scoreline. And here comes Robben again. Look at the pace here. Arjen Robben controls. Robben, easy. High fives all around. Arjen Robben took his time to make absolutely sure. And we are now absolutely sure that Holland are creating one of the World Cup stories, certainly of this tournament so far, but one of the great stories of recent years. Casillas was left floundering, so too the Spanish defence. With 10 minutes left to play. It is breathless. Nobody expected this Spanish Inquisition. Janmaat, they all want a piece of the action. It's a laboured, tired, defeated clearance. There's an absolute fervour around this ground now, there really is, because I don't think anybody can quite believe what they're watching here. They'll be picking through the bones of this for a long, long time. Well, the big question marks before the game was all about the front line for the Spanish. Was it the right decision to go with Diego Costa? Get rid of that false number 9 that they've had in recent times. But all the question marks after this game will be about the Spanish defence. Robben, overrun by Torres, tried to do too much, but Fla to the rescue. What a night he's had, what a night his teammates have had, but still got some defending to do here. I don't want to concede a second, it's not necessarily alter the complexion of this result, but 5-1 still an awful lot better than 5-2. Close your eyes and believe, Spain, this is happening to you. This is happening to you. Just for the record, by the way, the last time Spain conceded this many goals in an international was 1963 against Scotland. The Scots winning on that occasion by 6-2. 41 years later, they are suffering a World Cup nightmare. It's one thing being beaten by the Swiss by the odd goal 4 years ago, and being able to recover your poise from that. But being hammered by Holland like this is going to take some rebuilding of confidence, not just on the pitch but off it as well. PK. Friday the 13th is considered lucky in some parts of the world. But we might just be adopting that custom in Spain from here on in. Five days hence they have to go to the Maracanã in Rio to play against a very well-rated Chilean side as well. So it doesn't get any easier after this. Final game of the group will be against the Australians. And if they can recover their poise, then of course second place would seem to be the best option. With the Dutch off to such a fly, you'd expect the Dutch to push on from here, though you never know. But second place would leave The game in the last 16 against Brazil for Spain. Could not have been worse for them today. Schneider. Turning him inside out. Had him in his back pocket. Here's Wijnaldum. Looking left. Lens plays it in. Wijnaldum! Not a sixth! No, not this time. Casillas is there to block it away! What about that from Robben? Casillas had to be at his absolute best twice. Well, he hasn't lost all his superpowers just yet, Casillas. Robben. It's getting hot, I think she's saying. The temperatures, but also the way the Dutch are playing in this game. The Dutch will tell you as well that they didn't deserve to concede the penalty, that it was a rather softish penalty to have conceded as well that put them that one goal behind. Not that they'll be complaining too much about that, I'm sure at the end of this 90 minutes there are far more positive thoughts for them to address. Here's Iniesta. Xavi. Robben. Looking for a hat-trick, weaving a little bit of magic. Schneider. Schneider's chip was looking for Janmaat. This is Janmaat. De Jong. Robben. Happy to play with them. Iniesta bundling in. And he's given away the free kick. Relays for Holland. Janmaat. Sure, it's been one of the most astonishing World Cup games that most of the people inside this stadium, the many millions around the world, would have seen. Certainly the most astonishing second half, in which the World Cup holders have been unpicked. Quetta. Finding space again here. Lens. He's got plenty to pick from. Oh, Robben! Fluffed his lines. That is Schneider, I do apologise. A chance to join the party. Goal scorers, every one of them. And at the other end, there's an opportunity for a little... Oh, Torres! What a chance that was! And doesn't that sum up the travails of the Spanish here tonight? Blundering in defence, blustering in attack. Torres passes up on a sitter. Minute of stoppage time played. And it's just a case of seeing the seconds out now. Robin. Sharing every pass. Schneider. Blint. Martins Indy. Dutch side loving the moments. Silerson. If you told him there would have been 6 goals scored tonight, I think he might have been a little bit nervous before the game. Just for Silerson. But luckily for him, 5 of them have come at the other end. Piqué. 48,000 inside this stadium, this Arena Fontenova stadium, not far short of capacity here. Iniesta. Busquets. Pedro. To somehow manufacture a way through. So Martins Indy is far too solid a presence to let that happen. Holland's next game, by the way, they play against Australia in Porto Alegre, which is a lot away from here. It's 5 days' time. I'm sure they'll be looking forward to that right now. That's the whistle. It has been a Dutch masterclass in the second half. Spain humbled, hammered, humiliated by Holland. The World Cup holders on the end of a hiding. 5 goals to 1, 4 of them conceded in the second half. Van Gaal is afforded a smile, Van Persie with 2, Robin with 2, De Vries with his first international goal. The Netherlands have beaten Spain astonishingly by 5 goals to 1.